the old man who made flowers blossom. Once upon a time, there was a kind grandpa and grandma in a small village. One day, Grandpa went to the mountain to cut wood, and there he found a small white dog all alone. The dog looked tired and hungry, so Grandpa quickly brought him home. Grandpa and Grandma happily welcomed the dog into their family, and named him Shiro because of his soft, white fur. One day, Grandpa and Shiro went up the mountain to cut wood, but Shiro acted a bit strangely. He wagged his tail and signaled for Grandpa to come along, like he was saying, "Come with me." Grandpa decided to follow Shiro. After a little while, Shiro suddenly stopped and started digging the ground, wanting Grandpa to do the same. Grandpa dug the ground, as Shiro suggested, and the more he dug, the more golden light flowed out from the ground. Grandpa was so surprised. He kept digging, and soon, he found lots of shiny gold pieces hidden underground. Thanks to Shiro, Grandpa became rich. Next to Grandpa's house, there were some neighbors, Grandpa and Grandma, who were greedy and did not have kind hearts. When they saw Grandpa bringing home a pile of gold, they asked how and where he got it. The grandpa explained that Shiro guided him and helped him find the gold underground. The greedy neighbors took Shiro and really wanted him to show them the gold. But when they dug the ground where Shiro stopped, all they found was dirt, insects, and filth. The neighbors were upset, and unfortunately, they hurt Shiro. Grandpa and Grandma were embarrassed to have Shiro with the greedy neighbors, so they asked where Shiro was. They cried and went to the place where Shiro was buried, grieving for their loss. They thought of Shiro as their very own child. That night, they had the same dream in which Shiro told them to go to the spot where he was buried, cut down a tree, and make a large mortar with it. The next day, Grandpa went to the place, and surprisingly, a tree had grown where Shiro was buried. Grandpa cut down the tree and made a mortar, just as Shiro had said. While Grandpa and Grandma were making rice cakes with the mortar, gold started pouring out each time they pounded the rice cakes. They were filled with happiness and thanked Shiro for the precious gift. When the greedy neighbors saw this, they secretly stole the mortar, trying to do the same thing Grandpa and Grandma were doing. But instead of gold, a stinky smell and trash poured out. They got mad, so they broke the mortar and used it as firewood. When Grandpa went to get the mortar, he saw the ashes from the broken pieces, and felt sad because he couldn't protect Shiro once again. Grandpa carried the remaining ashes from the neighbor's house. When he walked down the mountain, he saw lots of trees that were no longer alive. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and Grandpa tried to hug the ashes, but they blew towards the dead trees. Magically, flowers bloomed on the dead trees, making a beautiful flowering tree that looked just like Shiro. Thinking it was Shiro's gift, Grandpa sprinkled the ashes on other dead trees, turning them into blooming wonders. At the same time, a lord was passing by and was impressed by the beauty of the blossoming trees. He thanked Grandpa and sent many gifts. When the greedy neighbors heard about it, they wanted to be rewarded, so they gathered the leftover ashes and threw them when the Lord showed up. Unexpectedly, the Lord and his servants were all covered in ashes. The Lord was very angry, and he made the greedy neighbors vanish from the village forever. In the end, Grandpa and Grandma lived happily surrounded by ever-blooming trees, and were grateful for Shiro in their hearts.